Jin finally broke the silence. In a statement that immediately shook the public, he revealed the real reason behind Jungkook's surprising decision to leave HYBE. A big question then arose in the minds of millions of fans. What made the youngest member of BTS, who had been so loyal to the group and its agency, take such a drastic step? This news is not just ordinary gossip. The presence of a direct voice from Jin has brought clarity to the speculation that has been circulating for weeks. In an emotional tone, Jin said that Jungkook's decision was not the result of a minor conflict or just a contract issue. He emphasized that there was a fundamental factor that had rarely been highlighted by the public, but was big enough to encourage Jungkook to leave the agency that had raised him. ARMY around the world immediately responded to Jin's statement with an emotional way. Social media was filled with thousands of comments, mostly colored with sadness and disbelief. Many cried, felt lost, and even found it difficult to accept the fact that Jungkook had really left HYBE. Why is this decision so shocking? Because Jungkook has been known as a figure who rarely wavers, is hardworking, and is very committed to his group. Jin added that the main reason for Jungkook's departure was related to differences in vision between himself and management. According to Jin, Jungkook wanted more space to express himself as a musician. He wants to develop his work without being limited by the strict rules that are often applied by the large entertainment industry. Although HYBE has provided a lot of support, Jungkook feels that there are creative aspects that he can no longer compromise. Jin's statement refutes previous speculation that Jungkook's departure was only due to personal problems or fatigue. On the contrary, the decision was born from a strong determination to maintain artistic idealism. Jin even emphasized that Jungkook had repeatedly discussed this privately with the members before making an official decision. In other words, this was not a step taken hastily, but rather the result of long consideration. What made ARMY even more touched was Jin's confession about the last moment before the decision was announced. He said that Jungkook had cried in front of the members, feeling guilty because he was worried that his actions would hurt the hearts of fans. He said he wanted to be honest with himself, but also didn't want to disappoint ARMY, Jin said in a trembling voice. That sentence was enough to make thousands of fans shed tears when they heard it. Along with this statement, many parties began to question what the future of BTS would be like after Jungkook's big step. Will this affect the group's dynamics? Will BTS continue to run with the existing formation? Jin emphasized that although Jungkook's decision was difficult, the friendship and bonds between members would never fade. "We are still family," said Jin, trying to calm ARMY's anxiety. However, public reaction was unavoidable. International media immediately reported Jin's statement, highlighting how Jungkook's departure could be a major turning point in the history of BTS and HYBE. Many industry observers see this as a critical moment that will test the strength of the BTS brand, while showing whether they can remain solid in the midst of a major upheaval. On the other hand, some fans actually appreciate Jungkook's courage. They see the step as proof that he is a true artist who dares to risk comfort for creative freedom. However, this appreciation is mixed with a deep sense of loss. Not a few ARMY wrote emotional messages, hoping Jungkook would still feel close to them even though he was no longer under the auspices of HYBE. Jin's statement is not just a clarification, but also a heartbreaking reflection. He reminded fans that behind the spotlight of the magnificent stage, every artist is also an ordinary human being who has to make difficult decisions for personal happiness. For ARMY, this is a moment to reflect. Can they sincerely accept their idol's choice, even if it means letting go of something they have always considered unshakable? Now, the world is waiting for Jungkook's next move. Will he release a solo work under an independent label? Or maybe join another agency that is more in line with his vision? These questions continue to echo, while ARMY is still trying to calm their hearts after being shocked by Jin's statement. One thing is certain: Jin's frankness has turned speculation into a bitter reality. Jungkook has indeed chosen a new path, and ARMY's tears are a testament to how much they love the golden magne. Jin's statement about the reason Jungkook left HYBE was indeed shocking, but can we immediately believe it? Or is this event just part of a big scenario that was deliberately designed to attract public attention? This kind of question is important to ask, considering that the entertainment industry is often inseparable from elements of dramatization and image play. The reaction of ARMY, who cried, were devastated, and expressed their emotions on social media shows how strong the emotional bond is between idols and their fans. However, couldn't this also be exploited by the media or certain parties to create a sensation? Is it possible that the narrative about tears, confessions, and farewells is more aimed at arousing sympathy, rather than truly representing the situation that occurred? Let's be honest, when information comes through platforms like TikTok, YouTube, or Twitter, how often do we trace the truth? Do we just stop at clickbait titles and let ourselves be carried away by the emotional current? What if Jin's circulating statement is actually just a piece that has been twisted, cut, or even engineered? Are we ready to accept the fact that maybe the information is not complete or even fake? Some fans might think, why would Jin say that if it wasn't true? However, have we ever considered other possibilities? For example, the quoted statement could be taken out of context, or maybe said in a different atmosphere, which was then led in a certain narrative direction. Did Jin really convey the reason Jungkook left HYBE with the intention of confirming, or did someone deliberately use Jin's name to strengthen the credibility of a rumor? The next question is, did Jungkook really leave HYBE? If so, why is there no official statement that can be legally accounted for from the agency? Why is this information widely circulating through social media platforms that are often full of manipulation? Isn't it strange that we first heard about such big news from short clips on TikTok or speculative uploads on Twitter, not from an official press conference? This phenomenon reminds us that the modern entertainment industry often uses drama to maintain public attention. Isn't it very possible that the issue of Jungkook's departure is just a strategy to trigger big discussions, increase exposure, and ultimately benefit certain parties? If that's true, then ARMY's tears, emotional reactions, and debates that arise are just part of a prearranged scenario. However, what if all of this is true? What if there really is a difference in creative vision between Jungkook and HYBE, as Jin said? Are we ready to accept the bitter reality that one of the pillars of BTS decided to leave the big agency that raised him? If this is real, does that mean the future of BTS will change forever? These questions are shaking because they concern the feelings of millions of fans around the world. This is where the importance of skepticism lies. We cannot swallow every piece of information presented, no matter how emotional or convincing the narrative is. Does this news have a factual basis that can be verified? Is there documentary evidence, official statements, or valid recordings? Or is this just a series of viral content produced for sensation at the expense of truth? We also have to ask, who benefits from the spread of this news? Is it ARMY, who are actually dissolving in sadness? Is it HYBE, which is now getting global attention? Or maybe the content creators on TikTok and YouTube who reap millions of views from this sensational news? Shouldn't we be more critical in seeing that often the truth in entertainment media is nothing more than a commodity being traded? These questions are not intended to weaken ARMY's love for BTS, but rather to strengthen awareness that every piece of information deserves to be tested for truth. Did Jin really say that? Did Jungkook really leave HYBE? Or is this just a hoax that has been polished in such a way that it looks like a fact?